Last week, I know that Bill and David and Jay talked about Sukha, about sweetness, joy, pleasure. We need a certain amount of Sukha in order to hold the dukkha that is present. That's real, that's true. So creating the conditions for Sukha to arise is actually what we are doing when we set up our meditation practice. As many of you know, we talk about setting up a posture of mindfulness by creating a holding environment. Why? Well, it's a useful frame of reference for folks to sense into the internal atmosphere, the internal attitude of the posture. It creates a welcoming posture, an atmosphere of kindness and care, out of which one practices from. It creates the conditions for contentment and ease to arise. We definitely want that. And we need these in order to hold the stress and the suffering that comes unbidden. You don't just sit down. We don't just sit down in our meditation posture and then forget about it either. No. We bring it right along with us for the rest of the sitting. Heck, for the rest of the day, if you can do it. I mean, we just check back. We check back in and we feel and we reestablish body, breath, heart, and mind. These are the 4 areas that we look for: body, breath, heart, and mind. And each of these areas offers avenues of possibility for feeling into that experience of ease, into feeling a little bit more Sukha. Because dukkha is a whole body affair. When I was upset a few weeks ago, my thoughts ricocheted back and forth between different situations that had similar upsetting feel. My heart felt sunken and closed and protected, and my breath shallow, fast, thready, and my body was reduced to the knot in my stomach. That's what I felt. Nothing felt open and relaxed, nothing. So how do you bring Sukha about when you're feeling like that? Again, use whatever method gets you out of the fray of dukkha. Whatever methods move the dial in the direction of Sukha, the Sukha of caring attention. What is available to you now will not always be the same. So it's good to have a few options to consider that will move you in that direction of goodwill and ease of well-being, more tangibly, more naturally. So are you ready? Here we go. Kind eyes, soft breath, gentle touch, and a warm heart. So let's start with the kind eyes. Kind eyes, not my eyes. Kind eyes because Susan may not be feeling so kind. She may not be able or willing to see the hurt that's really there. Kind eyes are willing to see, to bear witness to whatever is happening. Oh, this is so pivotal. It's so pivotal to have kind eyes. Kind eyes actually are kind attention, really. That's where our attention is drawn. So nothing will happen but more dukkha if we approach our upsets with judgment. Kindness is what opens the door to our heart. So what do kind eyes feel like? Really, what do they feel like? What does it feel like to be on the receiving end of them? How about on the giving end? What helps you to feel into kind eyes? Is there someone for whom, when you look into their eyes, your whole body relaxes? Where you feel safe to be exactly who you are? Or is there a place in nature that provides that kind of whole body relaxation experience? Or a pet, or even a plant? Or maybe there are occasions when you offer those eyes to someone else, like a child or a friend. Can you feel that? Yesterday, I offered the visualization of sitting on the beach and looking at the vast sky. Can you feel the softening of the gaze when you're sitting on the beach and you just open the lens, the aperture, and you look wide at the vastness of that sky? That's a natural softening that happens. We're not doing anything. We're just setting up the conditions by turning our gaze upward. Once this softening occurs, then we can begin to feel back into that posture of mindful, caring attention. We have a hook, a way in, just like that. So right now, if you will, experiment with me. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes for a moment. Just close them for a second. Just take a few breaths there. And when you open your eyes, which I'll tell you in a moment, when you open your eyes, imagine right now that you're sitting on the beach and you're looking out at the sky. Now gently open the eyes and look at all of us. You see, it's just a shift of the gaze. The eyes have a habit of wanting to zero in on this person and this person and this person. But when we just splay the eyes open and allow them to see the whole of the screen, well, we see all of you, right? We see each other, just like that. And you can play around with that little move of the eyes just to begin to feel into something soft. That's our hook in to that whole posture of holding environment. Okay. Next is the soft breath. So just turn and look how you're breathing now. What is breathing like right now? Don't do anything. Don't change it. Just notice it. Is the breath labored anywhere? Can you soften it in any way? It's kind of hard to do on command, actually. It's hard to give our breath the instruction of, do this, do something different now. Well, sometimes we can. But often the easiest way is to hit the reset button, is just to take a few deeper than usual inhalations and deeper than usual exhalations, and then let the breath go and let the breath find its own rhythm. So there's the initial effort of we deliberately and actively open up this body, open up the airways, so that breathing then has as much room as it needs to breathe. When we're upset, our bodies tighten. And it also constricts our breathing. Constricted breathing makes us more anxious. That sets up the conditions for anxiety to arise. So the physical constriction itself is what needs to be loosened in order for the breath to really, on its own, soften, to find its own way. Another way of doing that is just to open up the body with a stretch like this, breathing in and opening up that way like we do before we meditate, or a yawn, a big yawn, or a sigh. We let all that air out like a big bag of balloon. You let all that air out, then that next inhalation you might notice is a little fuller, a little easier to come in. We want to go for that. We want to feel for that, the ease of breathing, the ease of breathing. So if you will, right now, with me, go with me here, and just take a few deeper than usual inhalations and deeper than usual exhalations, just 2 or 3. And now let the breath go. It'll find its own rhythm. The breath is breathing you. You're not really making yourself breathe. Let it regulate itself, because we've just opened up the house that the breathing is living in and made a little more room. So do this as often as you need during the day. What an easy one to do, right? We're all tense and caught up, and maybe we can just take a big inhalation, let it go, and see if we can just let the breath recalibrate. Next, gentle touch. Touch is the body's language. It's the body's language. The body does not speak in words, it speaks in sensations. When I'm upset or I'm in physical pain, I use my hands to minister to the pain. No, and that's not cheating. You really need to hear that. That is not cheating. Often we tend to hold the instruction of not moving too tightly. And if we do, we run the risk of injury. I know people who have sat still hour after hour and they've hurt their knees because the knees were actually in a lot of pain, but they didn't want to move because the instruction is to not move. Well, that's not wise. Wisdom says when it's really hurting and the little micro movements don't change it, or even paying kind attention to it doesn't change it, move it. Move it, please, out of kindness and wisdom. We are mind-oriented and we are rule-bound. We are ruled by shoulds, and shoulds often interfere with our practice. Notice the shoulds. So sometimes when I'm really in pain, or in particular when I feel like my breathing is tight, or my heart, I feel like I'm just not open and I'm kind of closed and I can't feel a sense of warmth, laying a hand on my chest is very helpful. Or I lay my hand across the chest. I actually like that better. I sometimes, like in the middle of my chest, it feels like my arm isn't comfortable, but I lay my hand across my whole chest and I let my arm rest there. And that feels very helpful. Or I might take my hands and let's look at my fingers. I'll just tap. I'll just do a little tapping right here, right on my sternum or right on my clavicle, just to kind of soften that area, open it up, have my body feel this touch, feel the ministering to it. This is what the body understands. It understands that kind of care more than anything else. It understands the kind of care when we also adjust it kindly, right? Adjust the posture kindly. So play with that. Play with your posture so that you attend to the pain that the body is in. And you minister to that in its language. The last thing is the warm heart. And again, there are so many possibilities with warming the heart. And, for me, there's this loveliness about, which I used a lot of on this particular retreat, warming the heart with kind words. Oh my. Learning to use words and phrases to kindle kindness. Oh my darling, hey buddy, easy does it. You are still a good person. Oh my goodness, that's a classic for us. You're still a good person. Right? It's no joke. Do you hear the love patter in these? This is what the heart needs. It's like it wants to hear the tone, not just the words, the tone. How are you saying it to yourself? So on this retreat, what I did is I coupled walking meditation with metta practice, which I love to do. So I'll just, I walked around in a circle and I coupled the footfall with a word that I would contemplate upon as I was walking around. Words like friendly, kind, caring, patience, generosity, contentment. And I'd say, may I be friendly. May I be friendly. May I be friendly. And as I took the time going around a circle with using that one word, I would sense into that attitude of friendliness. And what a beautiful way to engage the practice. It's so holistic in that way, engaging metta practice that way. The body is synced up with the heart mind. Breathing is synced up with the body, heart, mind. All are attuned to the frequency of these loving words, right? Body, breath, heart, mind are soaked and saturated in these words. So these are some of the meditative moves that we use in the service of developing our holding capacity. These are Sukha moves: kind eyes, soft breath, gentle touch, warm heart. And this is what we'll play with in our practice. All right?